It's February 24th, 2013, and you're watching Mods on Air.
2 FPS, 3 RPGs, and 5 sim-type games.
Yeah.
I think you'd be able to come up with one here.
I'm actually pulling this one hard.
Ask all the people that need hacks to play Call of Duty. I can hear you groaning inwardly every time Sin's mentioned. You're just cringing.
Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to episode 369 of Mods on Air, bringing you the week in gaming news as modders, developers, and gamers ourselves. There is rude content going on in the chat window, so please avert your eyes, because I haven't yet told you about how this show is recorded before a live audience. So yes, things are happening in real time. We're going to be discussing some topics about the week in gaming, and so hopefully somebody will post the relevant URLs into the chat window in case you follow along. And there may be some explicit language or adult themes. There's your example. So watch out and run if you don't like that. So let me say, I am foyleman, and also on the show today we have with us Welshy. Hello, Welshy.
Hello.
Hello. And we have Ham with us. Hello, Ham.
Hello, good people.
Hello. Breezy's with us. Hello, Breezy.
Hello.
Hey, and Stryder is back with us again. Hello, Stryder. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah, man. Imagine where he was. Yes. Correct.
That'd be good if you were so white.
I'm going to apologize for last week's show. Some of you were complaining about the audio quality, so we tried to restart the show halfway through, and guess what? The recorded version was great until that point. I should not have tried starting all over again. No, because then everything went to hell. And so I ended up having to toss that part of the recorded version. I'm sorry for that. Yes, I don't have my script. I'm doing things off the cuff. No, it's right here. But we do have a lot to talk about. I know, there's going to be a lot of talk about consoles because Sony did their thing. Yes.
This is big news. This is a big
Did
deal.
anything.
PS4 did some sort of an announcement. Not a lot to show, but they did some talk and letting you know that it was on its way. Pretty much that's all it was, is, hey, PS4 is on the way. Here's a couple of games that are going to be coming out for it. So start sending in your questions, which I'm sure they're getting inundated with right now. And they are saying that this thing should be hitting the holiday season of this year, 2013, at least in the U.S. There's no guarantee. You know, there's a question mark as far as whether the people in the UK, Breesy, will be able to actually get their hands on it, if they're interested. I don't know.
Classified.
I gotta say that I'm not actually excited for any console this year, except maybe the Ouya, just because it's innovative and has a potential because of its price point. PS4.
What a 180 you've done on the Ouya.
No, you're absolutely right. A 180, and I'm not afraid to admit it. But the PS4 is going to bring us what? It's going to bring us some new games that are and not going to be able to play the old games if you already have them. A lot of streaming, some interesting streaming capabilities that we'll talk about. An updated Blu-ray player. Okay, well, yeah, great. And a new kind of controller. Okay, so some sort of controller that has a share button, we'll mention, and some sort of touchpad on the top, which is sort of like a little phone screen.
Pedophile's dream.
Yeah, a lot of touching. And and I completely lost my train of thought. Thank you, Stryder. And if you have a PS Vita, you'll be able to utilize that in some way. So now if you don't get the Wii U, you have a Wii U-like thing going on. Yes, so.
Yeah. I don't know.
That one steals your credit card as well.
Yes, that's a feature, not a bug. That's
Why? Yeah, why are you ready to throw your $600-700 at him? Tell me. Well,
I'm not, but I'm gladly going to go over to someone else's house who has. But but I watched the entire 2-hour presentation, and I was impressed. And I thought to myself that anybody who's creating a competing console or even PC game developers should be scared, and they should rightfully be scared, because now we've got a console that has more memory in a lot of cases than a few people's gaming computers. There's a significant portion of people who have gaming computers who have 4 gigs of RAM, and they're good there. But now you've got a console with better hardware than your computer, and they're using a CPU architecture that's close to PC architecture.
As
They've said
to their old what they did.
Yeah.
In PS3, right?
Cell processing.
Synergistic processing units.
But nobody knows how that works. There's like 2 guys in Japan that has any idea how that works.
They've built some functions in that are very similar to Steam and Steam's community. There's going to be a big push for digital distribution. That's stepping on a few people's toes. They've sort of emulated what the Wii U can do. They've sort of brought it all together. The whole that when I was really impressed, I think most impressed amongst everything I saw when they sort of show that we've got something going on in the console that pretty much records your last few moments of everything you're doing, and you can stop at any point and sort of trim that and share it immediately. You can stream games. I mean, that's stuff that really should have been in Steam or some other program a long time ago.
They're also doing something else regarding that streaming. You brought up the streaming, which I'm assuming is going to be part of the Geikai kind of thing where you can stream games either input, but you can also stream them out, and you'll supposedly be able to stream the game from your house to a friend's house so that your friend can play on your PS4. Something interesting like that, where you could help them along.
He could take over your game if you get stuck. He can log into your game and get you past a point. It's like
remote access on Windows.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's my biggest problem with this, and that whole spread of points you made, Ham, is if you've got all of these features there, but you've still got the same overly complicated development scheme, which is why there's not any sort of a games library for the PS3, because nobody can develop for it. It was just not worth their investment as far as a developer to develop for the PS3. There was no reason to, because it just cost too much money. Now.
When it first came out, yes, because you had to like retrain everybody in the studio to
Where's the PS3 library then? It's still lacking a lot of the major titles. There's exclusive titles for the PS3 because it doesn't easily cross-port to other platforms. But for the majority of the games that are out there, the PlayStation, and until they added reverse functionality to some of the older titles, it had, for the first year and a bit, it had almost no games you could play on. Now they're releasing another console, and they're saying, "Look at all these features we're going to have, but what are they going to have for? What are they going to have for a library? Are they going to make it so that it's not reverse compatible again? Because that was a big fail on their part.
Yeah,
they've already said that it won't play PlayStation 3 games, not immediately.
The first PlayStation 3s that came out actually were reverse compatible, because my one that I have back in the UK, I can play PS2 and PS1 games on it. It was the slimmer, smaller version that they brought out after that doesn't.
Yeah.
I believe that they have said already that actually the 4 is not going to do that.
They did.
At all. They're just not even going to bother. 2 things that I found really interesting about this whole thing. One, I cannot find anywhere a picture of the actual console.
Nope. They didn't show it.
They didn't show it, and I questioned that. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. The second thing was a lot of those gameplay videos they showed. One of them was Killzone, a new Killzone title, which, if you know anything about Killzone, not the actual game, but a couple of years ago they did the exact same thing when the PlayStation 2 was coming out, I think. They
3.
showed it was for the 3, was it? Well, they showed a gameplay video that later turned out just to be pre-rendered, and they pretty much lied. They basically said it was. So I one question the new gameplay video whether that there we go, Shadowfall. The second thing is they showed a gameplay video for Watch Dogs, which looked amazing, looked really great, looked a lot of fun, and then they came out about 2 hours later and said, this was running on a PC that is close to the hardware that you'll find in the PlayStation, and you're like, so does anything actually work on this yet?
Well, I think what Boyle's showing right now is that the Killzone demo was actually running on the PlayStation 4 prototype hardware, because
we think. Come on.
We believe.
I mean,
we believe.
Welshy and I have been to a conference or two, and we're sitting there playing with Xbox controllers, and it happens to be a PC behind.
It's running on a PC.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was not pre-rendered. That much we know.
Correct.
So even if it wasn't running on the exact hardware.
The thing I'm worried about, consoles are supposed to be, on the shelf, like small packages, if you got all this sort of power in, let's assume it's the same size as the PS3, that screams to me it's going to overheat like crazy.
Well, this is why I wonder why they haven't shown it yet, because there's some, like, maybe it's massive.
Twice the size of your standard.
Yeah.
It's got
like,
an
X case
on it.
If we assume it's, you know, a reasonably powerful PC, it's got to have at least a couple of fans on it, surely.
And,
Well, all of that really, I mean, yeah, we don't know what it looks like. It could look like the desktop, the full-size desktop that you have next to you right now.
Just
I don't
come
know.
as a desktop.
I guess it doesn't matter
I
right now.
I just found it really, really suspicious. Like, why not? Why aren't they showing a picture of the actual console itself?
It's actually a Dell desktop with PS4 written on it.
it might be the case.
Yeah. It could be that they're not ready to actually show games running on it, so hide the console so that when people go and play the games, they're not looking for the unit.
Yeah. I know they're obviously going to show more at E3, but
We think so. We don't know.
we think so. I hope so.
Right.
Of course, these presentations are designed to impress you and sell you on this product. And in some ways, it's sort of I allow myself to be sold on the product, but I'm from what I saw and from the promises that were made, I really think other developers should be scared, like especially for the PC platform. We should be having games of the quality that we saw in this presentation, pre-rendered or otherwise. We should have already had that right now. We should have had these features built into our games or our game platforms like Steam right now. There should be no question. We shouldn't be waiting for Sony to bring out these innovative features. They should be copying the PC. And
you know what though? It's not the developer's fault in that sense. The target of all developers for the last 3 years has been the Xbox 360 dollar. That has been the downfall of gaming as we know it, and the reason we're getting shit titles and the reason we're getting shit quality is because the cap was set on what could be done with that Xbox 360, and that's what developers developed to, because that's the dollar they were chasing. This one I don't think it's going to be negative for anything. If this catches on, this sets the bar higher for what Xbox has to do, which means we might start seeing some decent games on the PC again, because developers are going to develop to a higher quality rather than the shit low level that they're developing to now.
I saw somebody actually say exactly, well, not in that as many words, but yeah, essentially the same thing, that this will hopefully dictate the quality of PC games again and bring it back up, because now you got better hardware in there that they can actually keep the level of decent, and hopefully it'll be like, you know what, well, now we can, push the hardware limit a little bit more. Let's spend some more time on developing it.
I'd hope
and
so.
Not sprout utter shit.
Depending on how long this console is on the market, too.
Well,
because in 10 years, it's...
Well, and see, but that's the other thing. How long ago was the PS3 released?
10 years
not
ago.
that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. And now they're pumping out a PS4. What was the purpose of the PS3? Was it a test bed for the PS4? Like, that's some of the thoughts that are going on in my mind, because Xbox, they brought out the PS2 to compete with the Xbox 360. And then they brought out the PS3 to kind of one up the 360, but it failed. Now they're bringing out the PS4 to what? Set the bar so that Xbox can just step one past it, or I'm not sure what's going on there.
PlayStation 3 was actually the PS3 was actually just a test or a marketing gimmick to standardize Blu-ray. Actually,
well, it was definitely a push.
It was a good push. Really made a difference.
Yeah, it worked because you come out with a new digital format, so you've got Blu-ray. You're now okay. How can we get a Blu-ray player into everyone's house? Oh, I know. We'll put it in a console
and sell it for cheaper than a Blu-ray player.
Yep,
when they first came out, it was cheaper than a Blu-ray player. It was stupidly expensive.
It was actually costing Sony more money to manufacture them than they were selling them for.
Yeah, and it was still very expensive to get. Just had Microsoft put in one of those HD DVD players within the Xbox 360 console. I mean, who knows how things would have turned out? Maybe we'd all be watching HD DVDs
instead of an add-on, right? If it was part of the unit,
But of course, they didn't do it.
Nah, because you have to pretty much go whatever porn decides is what you go with. That's true. I'm not making that up.
No, yeah.
What's the Apple console?
Yeah, well, we'll wait for that. I mean, right now it's the Apple TV, and which is a disappointment.
Well, I read an interesting article last week, or this maybe earlier this week, and it mentioned that Apple has sort of a stealthy plan, possibly because they've got
so stealthy they don't even know it.
Yes.
No, you know what? Apple is brainwashing Microsoft to do exactly what they want. Let's force them to try and catch up, and then we're going to change the game back to something that's more like Windows was, and it works. And then by then Microsoft will be all like, but we were going with Windows 8, and it'll be too late.
It's quite possible. I mean, in a sense, that's kind of what this article almost suggested. They say that so you've got the Apple TV. The Apple TV is $100. It's extremely small, and the internals are pretty much the same as an iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, supposedly, or maybe with a refresh, because they don't update the price. They always either lower or keep it the same when they refresh the hardware. And so now you've got a small box capable of running great graphical experiences that people can hook up to their TV, control. I don't know.
Which is the big problem with Apple. From what? From iTunes or from your phone?
They'd have to either release a controller, or that sounds very un-Apple-like to release a controller.
Right. Same price, and you got yourself a Roku that does that and everything else.
But can it play games?
It can't play games. Correct.
So what if Apple says, like, all right, well, here's an SDK, so now we've got just similar hardware. Now you can run games. Now people can develop games for it. All of a sudden, Apple has a console, and that could be a big thing.
Which is what we use doing for Android.
Right, which
Apple's
is what we use doing.
No, they don't do that kind of stuff. Their shirts are too highly stuffed.
It'd be called iGame.
Yeah. Well, Sony says that the PS4 will be more open to indie development. We don't know what that means. We just know that it's supposed to be easier to release games on. I don't know.
If you're an indie darling, like the guy that made Braid, then maybe you get some sort of exclusive access. Because during a presentation, the guy who made Braid was on stage to debut another upcoming game.
He didn't debut Knack. Was that the same guy?
No.
Okay.
This guy is making a game called The Witness.
I don't have that here. All right.
And I don't know, it's the guy behind Braid. And if you ask me, guy's a bit pretentious. Just me.
Anybody that uses the word pretentious is a bit pretentious, just so you know.
Really? Okay, you know what? Because I could not use the word pretentious and use other words, but pretentious was once I found out what that word meant a long time ago.
Because someone was very pretentious and they called you pretentious.
Yes, actually, I think that is the story of how it happened. And I was like, oh, that's a very quick way of describing a person's negative attributes that I don't like.
All right. So let's talk about some of the games that I did pull out some of the games here that they were talking about on the during the big press release thing going on. One of them was Killzone, which you already brought up, which looked pretty good, right?
To me, it looked good.
Fun.
Yeah.
It looked better than the original versions that they had out, right?
The only thing with that is that will be a PlayStation exclusive.
Yes.
I still don't think it matches that 2005 pre-rendered trailer.
Well, of course not.
I still want to play that game.
Because, I remember that. That was awesome. You just watch it and you're like, holy shit. And then a couple of weeks later, it's like, so that video we showed, it was kind of pre-rendered. Yeah, we lied.
But what I saw looks good enough. It looks fun enough. It's getting there. It's definitely getting there.
Another one is Army of Two. This is a series that I have never enjoyed, though, unfortunately. For them.
Is this the one where you couldn't work out the parachute controls because it didn't tell you?
Yeah, because aside from a weird interface, really annoying characters, because they acted like children. And I'm playing along, then all of a sudden you have to jump off a cliff and you're in a parachute, and they tell you, and you're supposed to steer your way through. How do you steer your way through? I did everything. I moved the controllers and everything like that. Now this is when the PS3 just came out. 6-axis controller means you're supposed to steer it by leaning the controller. They've got to tell you that.
Yeah.
Because in a parachute, it doesn't instantly take off when you lean it. So, you move the joystick around and nothing's happening. Okay, so what else do I do? No, you have to hold it there. Oh, then he starts to go. So, bad development, I thought.
Yeah. I'd agree there.
But most of all, really annoying characters. So I just couldn't play any of them. So this is one of the games that they put out there. I don't know if you guys enjoy this. This is really meant for a 2-player co-op.
I saw someone playing. I saw someone playing the original, and it looked passable.
Well, this is coming out in March for the PS3 and Xbox 360, but they were showing it off for this. Let's see, another one, Army of Two. We had there was talk. They didn't show it, but there's talk about Battlefield 4, but not actually what I wanted to show you yet. So I'll talk about what was that? Knack was another one, which is probably not going to be your style. Very, very. I'm not going to judge. Here's one built in Japan.
I'd say I'd be impressed if everything I'm seeing here is running in real time.
No.
And not pre-rendered. I'd be impressed, but I don't know.
It's like a Ratchet and Clank kind of thing looking.
That guy almost looked like a cartoon version of Gabe Newell. Almost.
See, I could see this playing on the Vita, but this is going to be a PS4 title. I don't know. Another one is Infamous.
I got the first game of that for free.
That was back when I was just famous.
Seriously. Yeah.
That's a Seattle Space Needle there.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of a jungle. There's so many jungles in Seattle.
Alright, skip ahead for some supposed action. Here you go. Kind of looks like a Marvel game. Yeah.
Oh, he's on fire. Oh.
Another one that was
They're
Go on.
They're dying like clay. Turning into embers.
Another one, Watch Dogs, which is something that has been announced a number of times already. They're just.
I really like the look of this.
I heard it played horribly though.
I'm not digging it.
Oh, really? I think it looks interesting.
There's a ton of people. There's a ton of buzz about it, and a lot of positive buzz.
Yeah.
I can dig the concept. I don't like the way it plays.
Another one like Assassin's Creed, where everything about it is cool except the gameplay.
Yeah. That is pretty much the epitome of the third one right there. Everything about it is awesome, apart from the bits where you're actually supposed to do something.
This is a Ubisoft game, which it seems they've taken a fondness towards big environment, with you being some sort of guy who plays a huge role in that big simulation type environment. Assassin's Creed did it. Prince of Persia to a much less extent.
Didn't Ubisoft just announce that they in some sort of a news conference that they wanted to rewrite gameplay and lose the shitty image they've got?
They say that every year.
They said something about that just this week. Yeah.
Well, this is the one that they showed at a PS4 conference, and it's running on a PC.
Well, just shows you how much confidence they have in that hardware at the moment.
I agree with Welshy. It looks interesting. I just heard bad things about it, unlike him, who said he's heard good things.
I've heard a lot of hype.
But it also looks like it can get old fast.
Ubisoft says it wants to improve its relationship with PC gamers.
By releasing Far Cry 3 and Assassin's Creed that both force you to use the Ubi store, whatever the fuck they call it.
They're now developing something for Uplay.
Uplay, that's it.
And you know what it might be? Because this what I'm seeing looks cool enough, but I've got this sort of image in my head where it's like the scale that this sort of scripted demo shows is just not going to happen in the actual game, and maybe I'm just sort of already disappointed with that.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, I see what you mean. Like the environment is just so big that it's kind of like
so big
things
and
to do are few and far between.
And they're showing this guy going around and sort of like scanning people to see what they do, and everybody that they're scanning has like an interesting history. It's like in the final game, will that really be the case?
Yeah, I suppose how often are you going to see multiples?
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks interesting. It looks different more than anything. It's like something.
I mean, this part here where he sort of crashes that car, it's awesome.
Right. Yeah, how much of it is your thought versus being spoon-fed?
Yeah.
You'd have to wonder.
So maybe it's me being jaded. Maybe I should be optimistic and this is going to be awesome and I should really give it a chance.
It just looks like Assassin's Creed in a more urban setting.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, I expect you to be able to play it soon.
Actually. Yeah. Assassin's Creed 3 put out some DLC on Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah. Where it's an interesting idea. They've basically just gone, let's just do like an alternate reality and kind of do whatever we want. And they made it so that George Washington becomes king and takes over, but whatever. So I got it with the part of the game when I bought the game. I finished it in an hour and a half.
How much did that cost?
They are charging $9.99 for that.
Jeez.
So you know what, and
I did it in about an hour and a half.
I'm okay with the $10 DLC if it's going to be about an hour and a half to 2 hours of gameplay.
Are you?
And it'd be better if it was $5. Well, it's better than them saying, you know what, here's another game, $60, please.
Hour and a half.
True. But they're doing it in episodes or something, I think. So this was the first episode, so the story continues on or whatever. It's not like it's just that's it, but still an hour and a half, and it was like, it just really annoyed me. Like, why is that not? That's an hour and a half. Why not? Why is that not in the game originally? Like, I can understand a little bit more if it's like 5-6 hours and they wanted to cut it because it was a bit too long, or this works better. But an hour and a half, really?
That'd be interesting.
Gameplay time, that's nothing.
If they were to do something like release the first part as free DLC, and then the later episodes you actually have to pay for if you want to continue the story and figure that out.
No.
How much is?
I don't know whether it's true, like $12, yeah. I don't know whether it's $9.99 for all episodes or for one. I'm not quite sure on that.
Guessing
it may actually be. I assume it's actually just you buy per episode.
Otherwise,
just
it's
an hour and a half.
Kind of season pass, which every game is doing now.
Well, they have, but that's how I didn't pay for them. Well, I did pay for them, I guess, but I didn't have to purchase them when they came out.
And
that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah, and let me address the cobs in the chat window here. The biggest difference, you can't compare DLC for a game like Call of Duty Black Ops, where you're getting 4 maps for $10, versus a single-player campaign that you're getting from for Assassin's Creed. And the reason is A, you're taking scripted event, or you're taking something that involves AI and a whole bunch of backstory and some actual skill versus pumping out a map that already existed. You're a mapper, I'm a mapper, just about everybody here is a mapper. They know what is involved in making a map, and there's no fucking way it's worth $10 or $15 for 4 maps, especially when there's a plethora of that ability out there. Exactly. DLC for MP will split up the MP players. It segregates, whereas this is a single player add-on.
That's
actually this came with a couple of multiplayer maps as well.
Okay, so you're getting more value than. Unfortunately, then you're proving that it's segregating a bit, but you are getting some value. If Call of Duty wanted to take that DLC approach as a business model and say, all right, you know what, we're going to give you 4 multiplayer maps and 1 co-op map, and we're also going to give you an entire campaign with it of new content. Then all of a sudden that DLC becomes viable DLC. What they did is they took something that was very proficient or very easy to generate, and took it away from the PC community in order to essentially create a foundation for a DLC model for honestly gamers that should be too smart to be paying for it. In all reality, and the only reason that gamers are paying for it on the PC, like I'm done buying Call of Duty titles. I'll never buy another one, because they've gone so far off of what they started from and what it actually should be to something where all they're doing now is pumping out the same crap to make money, and they're not. It's not a new game ever. So to say that that paying for DLC on a game like AC or paying for DLC on a game like what was the Neverwinter one that you guys just not Neverwinter Oblivion was one of them. Sorry?
Skyrim.
So Skyrim has pay for DLC, but it also allows user generated content. So what are you getting? What are you getting with your paid for DLC there? You're getting new quests, you're getting new missions, you're getting new content. You're not getting a map that already exists and it took someone 20 minutes to put in some spawns into it and recompile it. Mm-hmm. I've got a serious problem with that, and that's what the developers are looking at right now. And that is another reason why the quality of games keeps going downhill.
Because they're breaking up what used to be a whole package of bits and then selling the bits back to you.
Exactly.
The worst that really bothers me.
Day one DLC should not exist. There should never be an instance where you have day one DLC. Borderlands 2 was shit for that, because the first two DLC packages were done before the game went gold. That tells me those should have been in the game. But instead it was someone said, you know what, we'll just take this mission and we'll put it over into there and we'll charge $9 for it or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And that really bothers me, because that is taking advantage of a consumer and providing them a half-finished product. Day one updates, okay. You know what? I can see day one updates or day one patches if unfortunately it's the world we live in. It's all push for the deadline, push for the deadline, push for the deadline. So a day one update or day one patch, pretty much every game is going to come out with that, because nobody does enough game testing anymore. However, you should not have day one DLC available, because that content should have been in the game then. And all you're doing is like we said, you're further segregating your gaming community.
Yeah. From day one.
From day one.
I tend to agree. I feel as if you have the content ready, even if the game it was content locked, and you've just got to sort of polish what you had. If there's another team developing additional content that's ready and polished and ready to go when the game releases, then say, hey, this is some free content updates on day one. Free content updates that's available to everyone because it's ready to go alongside the actual game. But to justify, it's like, well, I don't know. At this point, there's so many different types of variations on the justification. I don't buy any of it because the game is available to me. I can buy it, but now I can also buy additional content, and it's there. It's there the same day the game is available. Why shouldn't I just have it all? Why do I have to pay more for that? And
there could be some interesting things happening this year because of all this pricing stuff. We have, first of all, stuff like the Ouya, which is going to come out with these really, really, really cheap games. They probably will play like really cheap games, but a couple of them might stand out. On the other hand, you can end up with what Bungie is doing with their game Destiny. And I watched an interesting video blog from Adam Sessler, who's doing stuff for Revision 3 now. And he went to the studio and got to see some stuff. They didn't see any real gameplay. All they saw was a bunch of art, and they talked about the game. And one of the things he said was that he thinks that the game is really going to be so massive in its concept that there is no way that these people can just charge $60 for the game and cover their costs. Because you have Activision here, who signed up with a 10-year publishing deal with Bungie. So Activision had to lay out a ton of money. You're going to have a game that is going to be covering lots of different servers because they have some sort of idea where this is not going to be a massively multiplayer game. However, you're going to be able to somehow integrate multiplayer gaming with players being in your game and then you being in other people's games, something weird, which is going to require servers to be online all the time, so they're going to have to pay for that at the same time. They say that they're not going to do a subscription-based thing, so you're going to have a game that is going to be either over $60 or a game that is at least $60 plus a lot of in-game purchases, microtransactions.
I think that's
the
latter option.
It was when I saw this, it was the first thing I picked out was one word: Activision.
Yeah.
Seriously, because as soon as you went, you read it, it's like we're probably not going to be able to charge just $60 because this game's going to be so huge, and I just thought, because Activision's involved.
Yeah. But that could change a lot of things because we're talking about a game that they're telling you ahead of time. In the end, it's going to cost you way more than $60. So get prepared.
Yeah,
so that
start
could
saving now, which is just horrible.
It'd be a big deal.
From the descriptions I'm hearing and things, it sounds like PlanetSide 2 almost. They talk about persistent worlds. They talk about how it's all massive and and just how this game is going to extend beyond just the console. It's going to be with you when you're away and also the stuff. It's just like this sounds very much like an FPS MMO. Which to console players is probably new, but it's not really a new concept to PC game players.
Is this even coming out on the PC, or is it going to be exclusive to the PS3? I forget. One of them is exclusive.
At the moment, they've only announced that it's going to be for PS3, PS4, and Xbox 360. And there was actually some talks of some brouhaha about one of the developers at Bungie saying that they redefine how people played FPSs with the Halo series, and they're out to do it again.
Yeah, right.
Halo stuff.
They're out to do it again
before
with this.
People didn't used to jump and throw grenade.
But with the point in that being that there was this sort of, I'm not sure if there was a direct quote, but there was just this hint that nobody plays first-person shooters with a mouse and keyboard anymore. So why create it for the PC?
Well, that's because they all have broken arms. Did you see the images of these guys? All of their images are with their arms hanging, like they don't know what to do with their arms.
Yeah, it looked kind of weird. And I think there was maybe an update to that where one of the developers said, we'd love to have the game on PC, but it's not really up to us. It's up to the guys upstairs. Meaning it's all Activision. Yeah. So, but who?
Realistically,
that's a hollow
what that
statement,
boils down to is how can they justify or how can they make PC gamers want to play this, and they're not going to be able to.
Yeah.
We have
No, how are you going to get somebody like me who loves playing on the PC to go out and purchase a console and then purchase their game, their overpriced game, to play it?
Yeah. A game that's obviously developed for consoles that is cheaply ported to PCs and probably poorly. How are they going to market that to a PC player? And that's why they're saying, you know what, we're not even going to try because it's not going to work.
Right, so they'll just
I would, like, literally, as soon as I read that this is going to cost over $60, I was like, no. Nope,
Yeah, I'd lost
thank
interest.
you. I'm done. Well, that and Activision, no thanks, bye, done.
But you do have to give
Just
it
by
to
the
Bungie.
sounds of it.
You have to give Bungie credit for the for what they did with Halo and consoles. Okay, they really did popularize the first-person shooter, I think.
On the consoles, I'd agree. I mean, there were games before. There was Call of Duty before. There was Medal of Honor, and those games did a good job. But I think they didn't build a universe like Halo did. And
We have no idea what to do with
See,
that.
I've never played a shooter. Even back when I had consoles, the games that I played on a console were like racing sim games, and just button mash fighting games. And what got me into PC gaming was the Medal of Honor, was the Call of Duty, was the Half-Life, and things like that. It's and then that's what developed that whole genre, saying, you know what, this is the next type of game that everybody's developing. And that's why there's been, over the last 10, 15 years, so many first-person shooter games out there, whether they're space games or World War II games or, you know, World War III, you know, futuristic, whatever. That's where it all spawned from. It didn't come from Halo. It came from Quake, Doom, Half-Life, Medal of Honor, Call of Duty. And it just progressed, and then it went and got put back onto the console because the console was failing so bad. And now we've got the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where everything's getting developed for the console, and because the console is limited, we keep rehashing this, but the console is such limited hardware, you get stuck in a rut.
it's true. I'm impressed with the PS3's hardware, but where will it be 10 years from now, as compared to PC gaming? It's a great question.
But how? Okay, one more thing. How did Halo all of a sudden become a first-person shooter?
It was. I mean, well, it started on the PC, then it got ported to the Xbox. It never finished development on the PC. Well, I guess it did.
It's a third-person shooter.
No, it's first.
I've not ever seen it first-person.
What?
It's a first-person shooter. Yeah.
Is it?
It's
Halo.
Halo's always been first.
It always looks like
There
whatever.
there was third-person bits where you'd get in a vehicle or something, and it would
Oh, okay.
bring
That's
the
right,
camera back. But
This is how little I pay attention to Halo.
And I enjoyed
even
the
I
co-op
knew
play
that,
on
and
the
I
big screen.
freaking hated that game.
But, you know, I say I enjoyed the co-op part on the big screen. However, you know, that's going to change also with the way we're going to start streaming games from our PC to the TV, such as with what Steam's doing. Big picture mode.
Big picture, yeah.
Cobb, you're making an argument that's an absolute horrid one. People spend on their consoles way more than people spend on their PCs. Plus, a PC is so much more capable than a console. If you're going to start saying that you're going to spend that on your console, start looking at all the extras that go with your console spending, like your 60-inch plasma TV that you pay on, like the fact that you want to buy all these peripherals so that you can use it for productivity. You know, I've got a gaming PC here, but I still use it for productivity. Well, what are you saying? Now we have to wait for his text response. This is the one bad thing about this.
Yeah, I have to. You're right. I have.
Oh,
no matter
okay,
what, I have to
okay.
have
The
a
architecture. Sorry, the architecture. All right. Sorry, I misunderstood. I misunderstood you, Cobbs.
Architecture. Yeah, we have no idea. Architecture should change.
And it'll change for everything because it's just going to keep developing.
It's on a console.
Sure. Yeah, I was playing Team Fortress 2 yesterday, and I was on a server that had all these stupid mods on it, and it was stupid. It was kind of annoying, but it did make me quickly realize with the PS4 presentation still on mind, I was like, this is something you still will never be able to get on consoles. Not these crazy, weird flipped servers where everything is just totally unintended about how the game is supposed to be really played. But it's fun for what it is, and I think that's
you're going to be content locked no matter what you do on a console. And it doesn't matter whether it's PlayStation or whether it's Xbox or Ouya or whatever. You're going to be content locked on it.
Yeah,
and the only way you're going to get more content is to pay for it, because that's the model that everybody is going for right now.
Yeah.
One of the best mods I ever saw on Team Fortress 2 was, I ever played, should I say, was the somebody took get one of the game modes and turned it into like airship balloon rides. And it would go it was like capture point, but it would like go around and it'd take you to the next catch point, and everybody get off and you'd have to stand on the catch point, and you could meanwhile everybody's shooting between the balloons at each other, and then you'd get back on the balloon and keep going. It was awesome, yeah. It was a lot of fun.
All those mods keep the game alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, how old is Team Fortress now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
time by the amount of hats divided by.
Yeah.
They're still
Breesy
doing stuff.
a new hat.
Go on, there's still servers full of people.
Aren't they still? They're still doing a lot of promos. Like if you purchase, I think that isn't there a pre-purchase for Tomb Raider where you get a bunch of hats? I think that might be true.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah.
But Team Fortress 2 originally came out 2007.
So the game is 6 years old now.
And I never really enjoyed that game.
That was my 17th
I
birthday.
quite enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the fact I could never find a server running the original game. A lot of the servers are modded now.
Yeah. Well, it's evolved to become a different game at this point in many ways.
Well, Tomb Raider's come out with some specs, since I mentioned that. Some PC specs, because this will be a PC release, unlike a lot of the games we've been talking about. And the specs are not high at all. No, like you need minimum specs, at least a gig of memory.
Windows 95.
XP.
Not too far from it. XP.
At least XP, yeah.
So that means it's DX9.
Yeah.
But they say it will... but
that means it was developed fully for the Xbox, and they put absolutely no extras into it when they ported it to the PC.
I don't even know.
No,
that's not true.
Is it?
Yeah, if
Tomb
you look
Raider?
at the article.
I got PlayStation.
No, I got an email saying that you could download it, pre-purchase and download it for the Xbox.
Yeah, it'll be for all three on March 5th. PC, PS3, and Xbox 360. But they do say that the high-end graphics for the PC will have very high-resolution textures, tessellation on the models. So there will be a lot more done. They did make some changes.
Yeah, I think the article says like for some textures maybe up to 16 times the amount of data.
Yeah.
So I was actually impressed when I read that detailed list of what they're including.
Assuming that's what you actually get.
Assuming that's what you get.
This is another one of those games that I want to pick up, but I probably won't, because it screams to me it's like Far Cry 3. Looks great. Everything I've seen looks great, but I'm going to play it for half an hour and go,
I'll probably get it and regret it.
This is not... as long as this game is not published by EA or Activision, you can almost guarantee that at the end of the year it's going to be on sale for like half price.
Yeah, so EA or Activision, that means it's what's left, Ubi.
Yeah, and does Ubi have any vehicles?
That means you'll only be available on Uplay.
At least they put some games on sale every now and then. It's Activision and EA who will keep their price high for like the next 10 years. So I do want to pick it up, but I'll wait for a price drop.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for a price drop. Which
this is the one where she's all feminist.
No, this is the one where they thought she was going to be all feminist, but it turns out that she's really all frightened little girl, or we don't know. Yeah, it's just a whore.
She kills a deer and then becomes a woman. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of
The
like
deer bleed, she bleeds, they all
rituals they've
bleed.
got. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the girls,
weird ritual.
there are some interesting things coming out that it's all right. For instance, Sony is going to have having some sort of program here that is giving game design a game design competition called a review of gamers in real life called Girl, and they
really?
want to get all kinds of special developers in line to see what stuff that they can steal, and then give you a scholarship in return.
Because that way they don't have to pay you.
A $10,000 scholarship. All right, so that's going on with PS3. But also jumping over to something that I picked up the previous week. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, a study. A study that says female gamers receive 3 times as much trash talking. And this is a study done over in Ohio. Well, it's Ohio, of course.
It's Ohio.
Now
the internet in Ohio?
They also observed these female players playing Halo 3. So yes, you got a lot of little boys who have to try and trash talk the girls that are on there. And they're saying that the girls get much, much more trash talking. Now,
it's funny because the little boys sound just like girls, so yeah.
That's what that was going to be my first thing. How do you tell the difference between like 12-year-old boys and girls? And 2, unless they've got like a microphone, how do you know which? Like, did they just sit down a bunch of girls and go, "Oh, you're getting"?
Why does it sound like you've said that from a van passing a playground?
Oh God!
How do you?
It did, actually, thinking about that, did sound very like court case rehearsed, didn't it?
Yes, court case rehearsed.
I mean, how do you tell the difference? I got glasses on, I can pull them off. You do it. I mean, seriously, how do you tell the difference?
Well, that wasn't creepy at all.
I feel like I've crossed some sort of line.
You've crossed a couple there, just so you know.
You've crossed the line and climbed into the window.
Here's one
climbed into his ice cream truck, driving through the playground.
What are women doing playing games? I mean, come on.
Yeah, they should be making sandwiches, doing dishes.
Well, then there's another article that comes out that says, which obviously is a ploy from Gears of War.
That's why the Xboxes were white, matched their wedding dress. The rest of the appliances, then they went to black, so you could tell when the women not where they should be. Just in case they're colorblind. White, fridge, stove, cooking.
Well, there's an article out which I'm sure is from the developers of Gears of War that are saying Gears of War is a hit with females because the females are not stereotypically sexy and give in to stuff, and they're also warriors in this game.
I can appreciate this news. I think it's actually good that women do play games, and it just doesn't become this exclusive domain of just men and little boys who sound like women. And but
Breezy's dream come true. Big emo females.
As good as this news is, I've always just found it to be fascinating and disturbing that, like, why does it have to be so much effort to make women that aren't like busty Sinclairs or like, just like half strippers have like, we all know the bikini armor in games. Like it's almost as if you have to go out of your way to do that, to dress the female characters different from the men and to make them sort of very weak and things like that. And it's just like
you do modeling.
Every
modeler does that.
This from
but you don't have
to. From the guy that's playing Guild Wars 2 as the biggest woman ever.
Let me tell you something.
Like, that bitch is huge.
It's true. I think there's something. I think there's something awesome about like colossal women. There's something superhero-esque.
He likes big butts and he cannot lie.
I mean, colossal in the sense like Viking build. Like I think there's something really cool and Superwoman type about having like
we just stumbled into your like fantasies here. Are we down
somehow?
Somehow involve Amazons.
This whole show is just gone.
I wonder if it's been building up to this. Ham's dominatrix is Miss Piggy.
Oh, God. It's like, what I know about this is like literally 2 minutes ago we were having a very serious discussion about that, the future of console game, and now all of a sudden it's just evolved.
Well,
the states have their fiscal cliff. We've got our cliff, and we hit the hour cliff, and that's when shit was just.
You're right.
We held it together for an hour.
I should say, I think it's good to have women in roles that aren't very stereotypical, and like my colossal woman, yes, in Guild Wars. I think it's nice to see characters who don't fit a stereotype or an archetype. I think I'm tired of seeing the weak women or the bikini armor or I don't know, the scruffy Caucasian guy. What? What about the bikini?
I kind of agree.
Foyle even takes his off.
No, I agree. That's kind of the reason why it's put me off the Tomb Raider game. Because they've gone that whole, oh, help me.
Yeah, help me, I'm a girl kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just that was,
So, let's see if they do allow mods, and one of the mods will be we'll turn him into a boy that does that female kind of like, oh, help me.
More of that. We need to see more of that.
Yes, we'll do the opposite, huh?
Well, it is kind of ironic that women are either portrayed as feeble, egg jigglers, toast makers, sandwich makers, or creepy psychotic bitches that just like in the exact opposite end from the docile. They you go to the fear end of things where you got Alma. It's just seriously messed up, young girl and old girl. So it was. There hasn't really been anything down the middle of the and you know what? I think the reason for that is because if you put women down the middle of the road, all of a sudden they become quite boring, and they just want to talk.
God, it's like we have a list of people we have to offend before this ends. Children, parents,
the handicapped is
women.
the only ones we haven't hit on yet in this show.
Right. So. Before that happens, does anybody have any other topics that they would like to bring up as we bring our hour to a close here?
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I think everybody's been offended.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get many accountant games. It's called Calculator.
Good reason. Even the accountant.
The tax man cometh.
Yeah. All right, I guess that's it then. Good. All right. So I'll wrap things up here and say thank you to our host for taking the time out to chat today on this wonderful Sunday. Welshy, thank you very much for joining us today.
No problem.
All right, Han, thank you very much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, Breesy, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and Stryder, thank you for joining us.
It's always an adventure. And one thing that I want to say is that, those words that Breesy just spoke were his 14th and 15th words that he said on this show.
Did you actually?
New record.
Well, he's over there drinking that tall screwdriver.
Yeah, he's screwdriver.
I finished it.
It's gone. Yeah. All right. So on that, I'm going to thank you for sticking it out because seems like the audio probably worked this week. Next time, I guess Blue will try and lower the video quality for you. I guess something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so I want to finally thank you, the fans of MODSonair.com and the subscribing members of MODSonline.com, because you make this show possible, and then we can come here week after week after week, talk about games, and play them together. Thanks for watching this week, and come back next week when we will broadcast another live show. Details for this and all past episodes can be found at MODSonair.com. We welcome your feedback via email at mailbag@modsonair.com. And please consider subscribing to modsonline.com to support our show. The opinions expressed by individuals on this program are not necessarily the opinions of our sponsors, owners, or partners. I got no endings for you, so.
Oh, fuck.
You know what?
I've been gone 2 weeks.
Here we go.
Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make.
Pancakes.
Bacon pancakes, making bacon
I made these yesterday.
Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and
All right.
put it in a
Have a great week, everyone.
Bacon pancakes, that's what
This is on for another 9 hours.
That
58
song
minutes.
is going to be evidence in a murder trial.